Welcome everyone to our first ever podcast. It's a new initiative that we've started with the school captains and myself, the faith captain Jacob Ghali, and
I'm Joseph Scanlon, the school captain.
And I'm Alethea Georgian, school captain.
yeah. So we wanted to start first podcast with our college chaplain. Introduce yourself, Abuna.
Hello, guys. Yeah, it's Abuna George, Nakhil. College chaplain.
yeah. So obviously we're going to start with Abuna George because he's our college chaplain. He's been here he was just telling us since 2009, right?
Apparently, yeah.
I was born 2008. So yeah. Before we get into the questions and everything, the topic that we're going to be talking about today is commitment. We know you're a very committed man, Abuna. You obviously, we just said you've been serving at the school since 2009, which is many years. So yeah, before we start,
I came 15 minutes late. So
no.
Shows the commitment.
Too humble. But yeah, I was going to start with a little game of one, this or that. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Just tell me which one would you rather. Okay.
Are we asking?
Yeah. We'll just open it up. All right.
Yeah.
Movies or books?
Nice. Movies or books?
Books.
Now, recently, movies.
Really?
I used to be books.
What type of movies do you watch? It's fair enough. What about you guys? You guys, I'm
Movies.
I say movies as well.
Yeah.
I'm not that intellectual, but yeah. All
I don't know
right.
what's your favorite movie, actually.
Narnia.
Bad movies. It's a good movie.
Classic.
Actually, we read the book in school.
Study that.
Yeah.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Really?
Yes,
Of
I
course.
agree. Winter.
I always say winter during school, and then summer when we're not in school, so we can beach and all that stuff.
Winter.
Summer.
Yeah, summer.
Summer.
Yeah.
It's 2v2.
All right, this is a good one. Isbah or liturgy?
Oh, this is a good one, yeah. No, I think primarily it's liturgy. Yeah, liturgy.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I'm more of a Isbah guy. I can't lie. I enjoy Isbah. But obviously...
You get more from the liturgy.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Isn't that
Really?
I love coffee.
Yeah,
Tea.
I'd agree. I know I shouldn't be drinking coffee, but
Oh my goodness, do you drink coffee?
not too much, but I do enjoy coffee. I'm not gonna lie.
Tea, yeah.
Tea.
Neither.
Fair enough.
Neither.
Keep that. All drugs, brother. Keep away from it.
All right, Europe or Asia? Have you traveled a lot?
Yeah. Europe.
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 I haven't been Europe, so I'd say Asia. We went Philippines.
Yeah,
so,
Philippines is special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Night person.
Really?
Yeah.
Night.
I don't know how to decide.
I had an
I'd
early
say I'm
liturgy
night.
today, and I had to sleep for 1 hour.
Oh yeah, my next question was going to be early mass or normal mass.
Oh, no, sorry. No,
So,
don't you question.
no. All right. That's all my questions. Hopefully that just lighten up the mood. Can you have to ask the first question or Joseph?
So, as Jacob mentioned, you've been the chaplain at our school since 2009. So, Jacob and I would have been 1, Joseph would have been 2. So it's a long time. And we think it's quite fitting to then talk to you about commitment. And Joseph has a definition.
We searched commitment on Google and it gave us 2 definitions. One definition was the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. And the second definition was an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. And so we wanted to ask you, do you agree or disagree with these definitions?
Well, one of them is more positive. The other one is really negative.
Yeah.
So I would tend to, when we talk about commitment, rather than abstaining of wrong actions, or I guess the first definition would be more appropriate. The state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. I guess this describes the right way. I guess if we talk about commitment in a positive way, I think we refer to the first one.
Okay.
If we try to negatively run away from problem, commitment, to avoid a negative thing, maybe we refer to the second definition.
So do you think that it's fitting, that definition fits within the tenets of like our Coptic church, or would you modify it?
I read a definition as we knew about this is the topic we talk about. I love that definition. I found it in one of the articles written by one of the fathers. The trait of sincere and steadfast fixity of purpose. The act of binding oneself to a course of action, which is similar in a way to the first one, but it describes a very sincere movement from the heart to do something rather than I'm doing it as a duty, as a compliance, but it describes a deeper cause for it. Yeah. So definitely there is nothing wrong with that. The first one in particular, even the second one is okay. If we talk about the commitment of avoiding sin and run away from anything that distracts us spiritually, they both are fine. And it fits well, of course, with our Coptic Orthodox faith. Yeah. Yeah.
I like this question. It says commitment to faith. Staying, obviously, it says staying committed to the faith in today's world can be difficult. What advice do you give to young people struggling with their faith amidst distractions and societal pressures?
Yeah. I think we really need to, whenever we get challenges like that, we need to look at the Bible. And one of the greatest characters that I really love to read about is Daniel. Daniel and the three young men in the time when they've been captive in Babylon. And that was typically the one of the strongest challenge that happened to one of the characters in the Bible. They were taken to another culture, and this culture was so strong. The Babylonians at this time were the best in everything, in knowledge and in literature, in art, they were the greatest in the world, like America now. And they were taken not just to be captive, but they want to develop them and become part of them. So they want to conform them to be like Babylonians. And part of it was educational part. So they had to study for 3 years, to eat what they eat, to dress the same way. They changed their names. So Daniel became Belshazzar, and these names actually changed their identity in a way. So there was lots of pressure for them to change their identity. But they were committed. And I love Daniel when he said, he purposed himself not to defile his heart. And that was really a challenge, together with the three young men. So we are, of course, in a broken world, and lots of challenges happen to us in terms of our faith. And we need to be firm in our faith and firm in what we believe. Even if we go against the current, our commitment is to continue and be focused, to lay our heart, to set the purpose clearly. I need to go in my direction, even though I'm going against the current. Have you heard about the salmon fish? So it is the strongest fish, apparently. It's not, although it's not the largest, because it's one of the very little fish that could swim against the current. So if the current's going that way, all fish going that way, but only salmon managed to go against the current and go the other way.
Wow.
And St. Athanasius is his famous quote, "Contra mundum," against the world. Okay.
I have a my jersey.
But it's extremely important as Christians that we realize that we are surrounded. Maybe we are protected here at the Coptic College, but once we leave this campus to open education, the pressure and the current will be so strong. And unless we are really abiding in the faith of God, we will eventually go to compromise and dilute our faith. So we have to be very strong in our faith, in our values, and our relationship with Christ.
So Abuna, when we talk about commitment and our relationship with Christ, how important is it to be committed to our spiritual disciplines like prayer and like fasting and serving in the church and basically staying very faithful and religious?
Yeah. So one of our biggest problems as human, that we start something very enthusiastically and then it drops off gradually. So commitment, I guess, is the key success of our spiritual life. That you continue doing something all the way. Doesn't need to be huge, but it's going on and on. Actually, on Sunday, Coptic orphans were celebrating, I think, 45 years of their service. And His Holiness Pope Tawadros had recorded video in this dinner. And he said many services starts and ends. There's lots of enthusiasm and just give it 2 or 3 years and they disappear. But he was so proud and was really encouraging the Coptic orphans leaders because it's all 45 years. They start small and continued for 45 years. I loved really the video because it describes our weaknesses. We sometimes start whatever, our prayers life at home or commitment in the church or service, and then we get stumbled by whether we're busy or someone upsets us or we feel down, and then sadly we collapse and restart again, which is fine to restart again because it's our human weakness. But I guess we need to set up these very important goals. When I start something, I need to continue. I don't need to read the 7 Akbaya prayers a day. Let's start with little, not all the Psalms. It's okay. I can read even 1 Psalm and the Gospel, a little bit of the Akbaya daily. I'd rather do that, continue doing that all the year, rather than I just start with many things and then I won't be able to continue. And the beauty of our church that helps us with that, like we have lots of discipline mechanism in our church. And also what helps us a lot is our relationship with our confession father, that when we collapse, when we fail, we can sit again with him and reset our goals and restart again, which is an amazing thing we have in our church.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, I just have a question. Because I don't know if this is like for everybody, but personally for me, I feel like, when it's like a stressful time, exams, etc., I find myself leaning towards reading my Bible more, reading my Bible more. But then after the time passes, I kind of drop off. So it's kind of like a curve between how committed I am to these practices. And even something separate, like, when reading your Agbayan Bible, sometimes it feels like a bit like the second definition of commitment, more like a chore. But something really nice that I heard was that even if it's a box you have to tick, it's a beautiful box. So just what's your opinion on having it more as a duty than a love for it, and when you kind of don't continuously have commitment towards practices like fasting and prayer?
Well, definitely when you don't feel like it, never stop it. So there are days, could be weeks, could be months, when it's a duty. But we need to continue doing that. That in monasticism, they call it the golden circle. The golden circle means that's how there's three stages, and they keep rolling. They always say perseverance brings the habit, and habits brings enjoyment. And once you reach into enjoyments, as if God wants to lift you to another level, you lose enjoyment, and then you need to persevere again and get the habit again, and so on. So it's like a rolling circle: perseverance, habit, enjoyment, and give on and on and on, hopefully. So there are times where you feel dryness, you don't feel like you can do it, or you're emotionally dry, whatever it is. The very important advice we're given to us by the church fathers is keep going, don't stop, keep on and on, even if it looks like a duty, but eventually changes will happen. You find these feelings coming back again, these joyous moments are happening, tears, whatever happened in your spiritual life, but never stop. That's definitely the advice that we are being given.
Do you have any advice on balancing commitments? For students, we have school, we have, our families, we have, church on a Sunday. How do we balance the commitments? How can the faithful approach service in a way that is sustainable and grounded in love rather than a duty,
It depends what year as well. Like you guys are now in year 12, your last year. I highly recommend this year God first in any stage of life, whether you're in year 7 or year 12 or you're 90 years old, God should be first. So our commitment to God should be always first, which means I am practicing at least 2 things: my personal prayer, personal life, and the liturgical life. So I need to talk to Him every day. Also, I need to liturgically attend a liturgy weekly. Now, you guys in year 12, I'm assuming this is going to be the big bulk of your commitment as you study. Surely other things are important. Family are important. Social life are very important. And services will come are very important. But I think this stuff could take a lower key in this year, guys, in year 12. It could take more space possibly in the younger years or later, of course, once you finish your 12. This year, I guess it's you and God and your books. If you manage to commit yourself in year 12. Having said that, of course, balance is great, important. Your sports, you need to exercise a little bit. You need to, of course, spend time with your family. Not excessively. You don't need to dine out every week. I mean, on occasion, we need to meet the family and cousins and all wonderful people. And of course, church, to be nourished with community of the church. But please take the big bulk in this very special year. It's gotta be, oh dear. I'll get
It's fine. It's all right. Thank you. It's fine. You cut it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Abuna,
It's all right. We expected it to be honest.
That's what amazing, by the way. I have to say that.
No,
like, it's great initiative. And God bless you. And I think that this is the first episode, so I'm not expecting high tech. I think the aircon sound is high. Maybe to interrupt the voice.
It's fine. We'll see.
And we're growing, but it's a great initiative to start a podcast as a college. And I'm honored, of course, to be amongst you. You're amazing, guys. You're amazing.
so a question related to staying committed to like praying and fasting and all of that is when there's difficult times and like when we're distant from God and like we find it hard to talk to Him, how do we like come back to Him and start reading the Bible and going to liturgies every week and basically building that relationship again from the start? And because we're meant to reflect our religion onto everyone else through our actions. So if we're not close to God and we don't feel like we have that connection with Him, to other people it seems like we're not Christians basically. So how do we ignite that relationship?
Yeah. Two ideas came in my mind as you speak. Number one, God is loving and is waiting for anyone to come back to Him. God never changes. He's always loving us and He wants us back to Him. No matter how much we wander around and get far away and turn our face from Him and put things between us and Him, eventually He wants us back and He accepts anyone. But the other thing is, I think we need to change the attitude or the belief that I have to be good before I come back to God, because it doesn't happen that way. He's the only one can make me good. So when we get stumbled and get far away from Him, and when I go back to Him, and we say, I want to give myself a space, time. Actually, this is the worst. Again, one of the recommendations of the church fathers, if we are committing anything wrong, repent straight away and come to Him. You feel guilty, you feel unworthy, maybe you feel like it's not going to work, but actually it's the only way it's going to work. It reminds me with, like when we get stains in our clothes, when we drop some ketchup or something, and then I leave it, the stain will stick and it's going to be permanent and hard to take off. The best thing is to take it straight away. Try to find some soap and clean it straight away. Similar thing when we get stumbled in our spiritual life, that we need to fix ourselves straight away. Go to your room, pray, contact your confession father even through a message, so you can fix it straight away and come back to Him. And God is accepting us. He never turns someone back. He continues accepting us. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah. I think just dwelling on that as well, sometimes we do stay committed and we do check those boxes of our prayer, our fasting, reading the Bible, attending the liturgies. But what if, we're not really nourishing ourselves spiritually? Like, we're not gaining that connection. We don't feel like we're close, like, even if we're doing all the correct steps.
Yeah, I think we need to think of the whole purpose eventually, that we build a personal and true relationship with God through whatever we're doing. and need to examine why we're not really benefiting much from whatever we do. So the liturgy, it is the best meal because we get the Eucharist at the end of it. I need to find out what's going on, what's wrong in my head. Maybe to understand the rituals. Maybe I need to delve more into learning the hymns, or have a textbook in like the liturgy with me, or I follow the words, or understand the meaning of the words, or having the readings of the liturgy. So I need to do something. Maybe my position in the church, I need maybe to go to the front and not get distracted. Maybe take a corner side or the altar if I'm one of the deacons or a boy. So find the way why you're not really benefiting much, while it definitely it proves to be a great thing. One advice I give it to some of you profess to me when it comes to prayer time. I call it open buffet. You like open buffet?
Love open buffet. Love it.
Do you remember, guys, we went to the Philippines and we had hot pot? I like in open buffet. You have lots of stuff in front of you, and then you go and choose what you want, and you can go again and get it, and so on. So I call it open buffet prayer. I can give you that recipe if you like. So what I like about it is you have your Akbaya, you have your Bible, you have your spiritual book, you have maybe your your upper room media app, hymns and sermons, and you dedicate, say, 1 hour with God every day, or say 40 minutes or half an hour. And in this half an hour, you can mix whatever you like. So you can start with Thanksgiving prayer, and you may do some matanias after that, or sit down and open the Bible and read few verses, and then pray these verses. Or it depends on the time, of course. Or get a sermon on a certain topic and listen to the first 10 minutes and reflect on it. Then go back to your prayer Bagbaya. It's okay. You can continue your Bagbaya later on. You can go to the one of the Psalms, and then go back to your Bible. So it's like keep choosing and picking what you feel like you want to do, as long as you're committed in a certain, say, 1 hour or 45 minutes with God, and keep choosing and selecting things. Rather than it's a duty, you have to finish 3 Psalms, you have to finish 2 chapters of Bible, you need to do this and that. No, you could really kind of have a mixture of things. And eventually you feel like there is a connection happen between you and God. One thing, so we work not on the quantity, but the quality. Not how much I've read, how much I've prayed, rather than I've spent this time with you, Lord, and trying to connect. But have all these tools in front of you. You know, you got the Akbaya, you have got the hymns, you've got the Bible, of course, you have a spiritual book, church fathers' sayings, matanias, if you need to do some matanias, remembering someone who's sick or someone in trouble, confession of your sins, and so on. Just an idea.
I really like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice.
It's really
Remember
nice,
it.
yeah.
You mentioned before Daniel and this 3 Saintly Youth. Are there any other saints or like church fathers who we can take lessons from or like draw inspiration from?
Interestingly, if you search every character in the Bible, a saintly character in the Bible, you'll find the word of determine, vowed themselves, to find the word but he did this, they have done that, but that person did that. So there's always this word of commitment happening with every saint. So Allah, for example, Job, one of the vows, he said, I vowed myself that I would never lustfully look to a young woman. So he had this kind of determination. It's only, I'm not going to look at any young woman, and I will always look only to my wife, and so on. Ruth and her commitment with Naomi. St. Paul, when say, I determined not to see anyone but Christ, and him crucified. So this kind of determination, you find it from the key. They had different challenges, but everyone had this kind of determination to continue their spiritual path. In the church history, of course, we've seen wonderful saints who've been ascetic to great extent, like above humanity. Like talk about, of course, the monks and nuns who've been living a very ascetic life. Like everyone who can really look at them and convict ourselves, of course, because we are too far from their holiness. But again, we learn from each one of them. When it comes to ascetic, comes to prayer, it comes to going against the current of the world, as you mentioned. We can definitely learn from many saints. Saint Anthony, for example, and his commitment in the spiritual life. Every day we read about a saint in the church, how they have been committed in a way or the other way. What's your favorite saint, Alicia?
I love Esther from the Bible.
Really?
No, yeah.
Okay. Joe?
Pope Carlos.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, this man's very touching the heart.
Yeah, he's. I love okay as
Yeah.
well, but I'd say I'm pretty boring, but Saint Mary is my favorite saint. Like,
You're not boring, man.
I'm not, it's just like I feel like it's one of the big ones. but yeah, I love Saint Mary.
That's right, quite interesting as well. Yeah.
So, Abuna, back to your open buffet recipe.
Yep.
A lot of people in the church say that it's important to have like a designated time of the day where you spend with God, just like uninterrupted, no distractions, just dedicated to God and building a relationship with Him. Sometimes if we're at home and we're in the middle of study, for example, or we're busy doing something and we realize that time is now, we just think to ourselves, maybe I can just delay it just until I finish this study or just until I finish eating or just delay a little bit. And then it never ends up happening and that cycle just keeps repeating. How do we commit to spending some of our day every day with God and building that relationship?
Yeah. There's got to be a level of flexibility, of course, because you guys, you don't have the same program every day. You may have time so far. I mean, if it's morning is always the best, to be honest. If you're a morning person,
I don't think anyone was a morning person.
morning would be the greatest.
Yeah.
However, again, back to the commitment. So, if I fail to spend what I the designated time that I meant to have with God every day, and that night I'm busy and I won't be able to, maybe I'll do the minimum, but on the promise that next day I will continue to do what I'm supposed to do. But we won't let it go like that, because really, that's how we lose the habit of prayer. So, I reckon we have to be firm with ourselves. If it didn't work for this night because of our family members visiting us, or we have to go somewhere or have something to do, it won't be more than one night of I'm breaking the rules. But next day I'll definitely spending time with God, if not more as well. So I'll compensate on the time. I know some people do that. So I missed out this today. I'm going to redo it tomorrow, and I add this 10, 15 minutes extra. We need to be disciplined. We have to be firm with ourselves. And surprisingly, guys, I know many youth now who are really onto that. Like, it's not only the adults and old people, but I know many youth of your age. And actually, I get embarrassed sometimes when I know what they do. The amount of time they spend with God every day, and how serious and disciplined with the relationship with God. And again, it's devoid of benefits. Like, they don't do that because they have exams, or they're doing that because of yeah. So we have a beautiful part of our orthodoxy is discipline. We're lucky to have discipline in our church and commitment in our church. It helps through fastings times, when abstaining of cheese, to meeting our confession father regularly, which is a blessing. Many churches don't have that. This kind of mentoring system where you can just talk to Abuna anytime, get advice, get help, clean start, restart again. So hopefully every single one of our college is having Abuna to talk to and feel comfortable to contact him anytime. Doesn't need to be long, don't waste Abuna's time, but quickly talk to him, prefix reshape yourself, reset again, restart.
We're very blessed to have you, Muna. And
Thanks.
that's
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Joe. It's wonderful, great initiation, and I hope that will grow, and we will have many topics to be discussed here.
Yeah. Just one last question. In terms of commitment to our church and our like Coptic Orthodox community, and I know you said obviously this being a tough year for all the 12 students and even year 11 accelerants, how can we still find that balance of maybe choosing a service, even a small secret service at home, or like what would you recommend to keep ourselves committed?
Yeah, I do encourage you to do something out of your self, like to be selfless. Yeah, it has to be something small, as you said. Does to be like lengthy or take lots of time. Would like me to shoot some ideas?
Yeah, maybe
you
throw some around.
You don't. It's
yeah. It could be as simple as I don't know, go to the church and clean the toilets. Just go choose one toilet and just and clean it, or go tied up the room, one of the rooms, or something like that. Something one knows, or
what about at home?
Yeah, at home, I think you needed something. I encourage you guys to practice humility in year 12, and there's no better place to do it more than home. Being always like kind to your parents, don't argue back, use the word sorry a lot. When we practice humility in this year, God blesses us. I remember one particular student. No, don't worry.
No, say it,
No, we want to know now.
You can't do that, Muna.
No,
Just leave the name out.
Yes,
It's fine.
This particular student was amazing, and he was really, really working hard at his studies. And it happened that he was studying in his room, and his dad was at home, somewhere else, and he knew that his son was studying. And then his mom came later on, and at that time she came, he was actually in the kitchen just having a small snack, and was singing and jumping just for 3 minutes or something. And the time when he was having this fun time, his mom came from outside, seeing him doing that, and she went off on him. Oh, what are you doing? You should be studying, and you wasting your time, and so on. But he was studying for hours before that, and his dad knew that he was studying for hours. And what he did is, he said, "Oh, sorry, mom, you're out. I'm going down right now." He did not defend himself. He took the blame, and he did not say anything and went back to his son. And that story was shared to me by his dad. And the idea came in my mind, this guy will be successful because he practiced humility to the best of its shapes. Yeah, that's the story. So practice humility at home with your siblings, with your parents. That will bring lots of blessing at home. That's an act of service, by the way. That at home, you don't need to do the cleaning unless someone's asking you.
Yeah, I think you've answered all my questions. I don't know if you guys have any questions. But Don, do you want to just...
No, I love you guys. You're amazing. And it's great initiatives of the podcast. I hope it grows and bring more ideas and more thoughts from students. And we'll have wonderful speakers at school and externally as well. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Amona.